Americans take the Constitution far too lightly. Freedom of speech, but I don't like that word. Yeah, but doesn't it take a certain freedom of speech for you to care? And in Islam, you've been getting away with it for far too long. Which brings us to the right to bear arms. Yeah, I know. Most of you have been watching them shoot our schools up longer than you've been alive. I guess they missed the important ones. Science keeps a faithful record. It studies, it classifies. It's frowned upon with humans, classifying humans, because in Islam, you're either a slave of the prophet or the infidel. But I'm from holistic medicine. Evaluates health from a macroscopic perspective, takes the big picture in the context. It doesn't say a seed is a tree. That's called being a fucking retard. Oh, there's that word again. Well, who put your finger on the button, Corky? Taoism says that all things are connected in the universe. Are you not a member? Are you not a resident of the universe? Right? Are you a fish? Are you a rock? Are you a star? You're a star. If the Taoists recognized what these Muslims, lily white or not, were interpreting their faith as, they would drop what they were doing. These homos and fucking retards have been doing what they do my whole life. They find some idiot swine, they prop him up on his hind legs, they stick a badge on him, and he says, but I don't know how to run a casino. That's fine, hold position. They feed him and they feed him and they feed him until it blows up in his face. And since he's our swine, he takes us all with him. And the messenger of Allah says, Allahu Akbar, here's the land I promised, the promised land, because he's God. Which brings us back to the Second Amendment. If it bleeds, it's not a God. What's the upshot on 30 years of school shootings? What do we get out of it? Are we paying for something we already... Is it the Roaring 20s? Are we paying for the Roaring 20s? Are we paying for the decadence of the 90s when some lady burned her vagina off at Washington and inadvertently bankrupted IBM, the first company to ever go bankrupt with an active defense contract, which is why we put labels on everything now. We were trying to save the company and we didn't. Why we still put labels on everything. The Vatican is sometimes slow on the uptake with these technological innovations. They want to know it's the perfect will of Christ before they gamble the reputation on a roll of the dice. IBM went bankrupt with an active defense contract. This is Y2K. 9/11 was Y2K. $2.3 trillion disappeared. Nobody saw anybody go in or out. Idi Amin cannot possibly be a king of Scotland, let alone the last. I don't care how many medals he has. The man has never built a road in his life. Which brings us to Mogadishu, Y2K. It's a world wide web. Any rule we can break, they can break better. If it's illegal, it's not the law. Democracy is not blanket immunity for whatever you did to get reelected. That turns it into a hostage situation. You are now a human shield. Which brings us back to the Second Amendment. Well, I guess our forefathers thought it went without saying that a prison represents a government, and a private prison belongs to a private government. The presence of any fascist, colonial, profiteer prison on the land is a direct challenge to the authority of the democracy itself. You can't hire cops to put them in your prisons on behalf of our democracy. Our forefathers could never have imagined automatic weapons. They already were trying. Our forefathers could never have imagined a Congress this dumb. Oh, it's the AI. It's not the Muslims. It It's superior to humans. It doesn't understand sarcasm, or it's not allowed to think outside the box or do anything that cuts into the profits. I don't think it is AI, Elon. I think we got sabotaged in Mogadishu, and since we left a big fat international footprint there, whatever happens to us now is all our fault because it's Mogadishu. It's not them. But what people fail to recognize is that we don't have a fleet port of call anywhere on that side of any land bordering the Indian Ocean. We can make South Africa black again for all I care. Is this why all the billionaires want Trump for president so bad so they can get away with 30 years of school shootings? Does he have to be the president? What if I mean, there's not a Trump alive today whose face I wouldn't stomp on right now. Look at them, look at me. Do you doubt me? This isn't a green screen. Where do I download that background? Yeah, the Second Amendment, because our forefathers could have never imagined anybody being dumb enough to replace our government with Mogadishu and blame AI. Yeah, hashtag Jerusalem. Trump is clearly the king of the Jews. Do you want us to... He doesn't have to be president. He's been doing it for over 30 years. I was just going to throw Justin Trudeau off of Niagara Falls for you, Trumpy Bear. Because there's a limit to what a man has to be willing to do to survive, let alone make a buck. And unlike Donald Trump, he's been impersonating a man for years. If you're a rational, if you're qualified to answer the question, what's the end, the exit strategy? What's the projected end game on 30 years of school shootings while they liquidate and consolidate our deficit? Right, it's a ground war here. That's why they want our guns. We've had homos and fucking retards hiding behind our Second Amendment since Vietnam. Did we get a fleet level Navy port of call from Vietnam? No, we're still in Japan. So the KKK has been doing whatever it takes to keep the law out of the Indian Ocean. And they blame Christians for that. They blame Christians for 30 years of school shootings. And then when that goes sour, they're going to blame the Jews, because that's what it says in the Bible. Sodom and Gomorrah is the Jews' fault, Jerusalem. I just want Lebanon as a Christian. Well, Christian enough for like you. I just want Lebanon. Well, Lebanon's in Asia. Well, Turkey's in Europe.